What is good, YouTube? Quinway basketball analysis coming to y'all with that quick analysis while listening to analysis at the same time. And we're going to talk about the Toronto Raptors, the team that just won a championship, took a huge gamble getting rid of the loyal DeMar DeRozan to get Kawhi Leonard, who didn't really want to be there, didn't really try that hard to play his best. He got better, got better, got better, won it out of San Antonio, didn't really give a preferred destination besides the Clippers, and ended up with the Raptors. And now the Raptors are in a tough situation as they had a decent team when he left. Clearly wasn't enough as they ended up losing in the playoffs. Pascal Siakam emerged as a star. People felt like he can possibly be a perennial all-star, all NBA caliber player with his defense, his ability to guard multiple positions, and his growing offensive game because he's still at a decent age at that time. And even though he didn't live up to that this year, he still had a solid year. It wasn't the greatest, it wasn't the best. It was just a downgrade from last year. I don't put all the blame on Pascal because I just feel like their talent in general was way worse than it was 2 years, let alone last year. And that was a big reason why they wasn't in the playoffs consistently and why they struggled the entire year. This year is different. That's coming up because they have a top four pick in the draft. They have some guys like Lowry who they can trade and get another piece or more multiple pieces, and Siakam and even other guys that might want to leave too. They can get something for them and try to go in a different direction. We know the Toronto Raptors obviously have one of the best development staffs in the entire game, like the Van Fleets and the Siakams and the OGs that have shown improvement and growth as players. And Nick Nurse has been one of the most respected coaches in the entire league, especially after he tried up and mixed a lot of different lineups and defensive schemes and always keeping other coaches on their heels as he's always trying something that will keep them in a chess match. So to me, they got the right things. They still missing the obvious, which is a superstar, which is the big reason why they traded for Kawhi Leonard, because that's what he was at that point. They did take a little bit of gamble because he was injured and had a bad reputation at that point when they took him in. But obviously, it paid off because they got their first championship. And ever since they got rid of him, they just been going under, under, and under. And this year, they just hit rock bottom. And now they're trying to find a way to get a superstar back in Toronto that wants to be there and also wants to be loyal to this franchise. And I don't really think they're going to get that at the number four pick. I could be wrong because you never know with the draft. But having the number four pick in Siakam is a good sweetener to move up in a draft or honestly getting multiple players that you can build something special with. I'm a little surprised that they going in this direction because it seemed like they was going to keep enough young talent around, mess around with the draft, and try to make a trade with the team that they already had intact and just find that piece. But now it seems like the Raptors just want to hit rock bottom and try to get a young guy that they can bring along, develop, and build around him. And they don't have that guy, and they are a good enough team where if they get that guy, they'll be interesting next year. But at the same time, this is the hardest part for organizations like Toronto is trying to find when you should stop or where you should continue to go. And nobody expected the Raptors to be as bad as they was this prior season, but a lot of it does have to do with how you build the team and how you decide to play. And I feel like the way they played in the lineups they had out there wasn't going to win. That's why I had them missing the playoffs, and everybody else had them making. I had them missing, and a lot of it had to do with how they defended. To me too, didn't really have the size, didn't really have the type of bench and stuff that you would like to have to be a competitive team. They gave all they could. They fought. They did the best they could, and they even snuck into that playoff picture throughout the season. They just couldn't consistently win at a high level, and I blame that more of a lack of talent. They just didn't have enough. honestly, and that's why I didn't have him making it even when the season started and as the season continued to go on. And I think it's going to be interesting to see who they get in the draft. Do they want to pick at number 4? Do they want to just trade for an available star, like other teams have said? There's some guys that's unhappy. There's some guys that would like a change of scenery. But even if they get a star or even if they draft one, they still need additional pieces to be a real team in the NBA. This team is bad to me, honestly. And I don't think one trade is going to solve all their problems because it's one thing being a playoff team, it's another thing being a contender. And this team going to need more than one player to come in to change that. They just don't have enough. Obviously, Pascal Siakam, people feel a little disappointed as Raptors fans because they did pay this man $100 million, and they did expect him to be a consistent, dominant force as he grew his game. Obviously, he did not do that, and now the Raptors fans are already ready to get rid of him. But I don't really know how much you get for a Pascal Siakam. He's more of a third option at this point, and I don't really know if you're just going to get first round picks. Is you going to try to get a top 10 pick? Like, I don't really see you getting a top 10 pick unless it's a weak draft or a team is desperate. And that's the only way you can really get something significant for them. But even if you look at this draft, you will have to take a big swing, trading Pascal, who is an established player that is an NBA starter, to go pick somebody in a draft who you hope you can get to become what Podcast has already proven in his career. But you do get off that money. That's the thing that Masai and them will look at too. You get out of this contract, you get off of this player, and then you can kind of balance out what you need and what you don't need in the future and try to put the roster together on the fly like they kind of did with Kyle Lowry and DeMar. And as they added those pieces around, they found out that they needed to upgrade their talent a little bit more to become a serious team, and they actually did. So Masai has been around here. The problem is he might be gone. He hasn't committed to the Raptors just yet. He seems like he has problems with the Raptors management, and if he's gone, then I really don't know because this is his team. This is what he built. This is what he was building. And if he's gone, this team is going to go in a totally different direction. That's why you kind of want your GM in order while you're in the draft. And with him not being committed, and we don't really know if he's going to be there long term, his vision will be different than the other person they bring in, and that could be tough for the Raptors to recover too, especially if they trade a player of Pascal caliber and draft guys that they might think fit now, but might not fit the other person's vision. So the Raptors are in a tough situation. If you're a Raptors fan, this is the worst case scenario. You went from being a champion to being a playoff team to now you're not even a playoff team and you're trying to get back to being a playoff team. At least, it's clear that this isn't going to work. This isn't the way they want to go, which gives you a chance to figure out what your identity and what you're going to be. But I feel like this is going to have to be set with everybody's talking, everybody's trying to figure this stuff out because a lot of this should have been done before the draft happens, and the draft happens next week. So the Raptors are in a confusing situation. It seems like they was trying to find that next piece. Now it seems like they're trying to go all the way back to the bottom. And now it kind of seems also that they don't want to be at the bottom. They want to kind of be a contending team for the playoffs at the same time, which, is confusing. So I don't really know what's going on with the Raptors. I don't really know what they're trying to do. But if I'm a Raptors fan, it's going to be tough the next 2 years, not really knowing what direction you're going to go. And I don't really like the Jalen Suggs pick. And I think Kaminga is years away from being a legitimate star in his league. And that still means you're going to be at the bottom for more years than just this year, and including this year that y'all just was at the bottom because y'all didn't make the playoffs either. So the Raptors fans, don't smile, don't be happy. You're going to have to sit back, chill, and watch what happens. And losing Masai will be a huge thing because he was the reason why this team was able to get over the hump. And he was the reason why the team was in the situation where they was in last year. But he's also one of the reasons why they're at the bottom now. So this is just tough to see. Other than that, I'll be back Sunday with more draft coverage. I felt like this was important news to get out there and to see what direction this team is going and not really knowing what they're going to do has to be a tough situation for y'all Raptors fans. But I always give y'all Raptors coverage. I always watch this team and what they're trying to do. And even I don't know what they're going to do. And that's going to be the hardest thing for you guys to, take in going into the draft. But keep your heads up, keep your hope and faith up, and hopefully y'all can figure it out within the next 2 to 3 years.